We're live. I was
Hello?
gonna let you lead in because it's good news.
Oh, it's the good news. Greetings, everyone. This is the Cult of Brighter Days, and tonight we are talking the good news. My name is Richard, and
My name is Michael. And what do you got for us today, Richard?
well, on the face of it, well, some people might immediately say that it's good news, and other people will say, "How can you possibly figure this is good news?" And I'm going to agree with the second group more than the first group. But the good news, the news story that we're going to talk about is Ken Paxton, the impeached Attorney General of the state of Texas, was acquitted this weekend of charges of, generally speaking, corruption.
More specifically speaking?
More specifically speaking, he was charged with let's see, where is it? I'm sorry, I thought I had this.
I have to work on notes.
He was accused of accepting bribes from and giving legal assistance to a campaign donor while disregarding his official duties to the people of Texas. He was accused of improperly firing employees who reported his actions to federal authorities, lying about his actions, and misusing government funds to dispute their allegations, and more.
Okay.
Total of 16 charges. Some of them were actually not adjudicated in the Texas Senate this time around. They set 4 of them aside and from this trial, and then dismissed them entirely when the acquittals came through. And I guess if you trusted the Texas Senate, you could say, as Governor Abbott did, that, good, our Attorney General is not corrupt and justice was done, blah, blah, blah. I don't actually believe that because I lived in Texas for 25 years, during which they more than earned the nickname of the Banana Republic of Texas. Not because they're particularly fashionable or anything, but because the original meaning of the term Banana Republic was countries down in like Central America where they grow bananas, where some strongman took over to benefit the banana companies, and there was all kinds of corruption involved in running these republics for the benefit of people who were already rich.
No.
And so,
tell me that doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
I can't speak to whether it continues to happen or not. My familiarity with the term was from history classes, so it definitely did happen, at least in the past, and whether it's still going on is a different question that I'm not prepared to answer.
You know what my original...
Unless you're talking about Texas.
Unless you're talking about Texas? You know what my original terms... my original thoughts about that came from... My original thoughts about that came from a Woody Allen movie called Bananas, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
Where actually it was 1971, and it was Woody Allen going down to South American country and becoming the leader of the country after the assassination of the leader, because they considered his character completely ineffectual. I haven't seen it in years, but it was back when Woody Allen was actually funny, you know?
Yeah, so that's probably not a bad introduction to the concept in the grand scheme of things. There may be better ones.
I don't know. It has Howard Cosell in it. At the very beginning of the movie, when the president's being assassinated, Howard Cosell comes out from the wide world of sports. and does a play-by-play
Yes.
of the
Well,
assassination. Okay.
in any case, having lived in Texas and watching Ken Paxton get indicted and then elected to office while he was under indictment, and all of the other antics that the Texas GOP has been engaging in during that time, I don't think the good news here is that justice has been done. I think the good news is a little more esoteric.
Ooh, that's a tasty
I
word.
Think. So there's a quote I have here from State Representative Andrew Murr in the Texas House of Representatives. And he, upon hearing the news of the acquittal in the Texas Senate's trial, he said, the trial painted an accurate and clear picture of an out-of-control attorney general who refused to listen to the desperate warnings of his conservative lawyers that he had entrusted to help run his office. I was not really all that privy to the evidence in this particular case with the developer that he was accused of cooking books for, or rigging the system for. But my take on the good news here is that he got impeached at all. The Texas House of Representatives, that the Texas House of Representatives actually went so far as to pass by a pretty large majority articles of impeachment to send to the Texas Senate for trial. That is that's the part that was surprising to me as everything unfolded. I figured that that good old boy network of the Texas Republican Party would have banded together to protect one of their own, and it didn't work out quite that way. Not exactly.
Question on that one. Okay. So it seemed like it was a pretty joint concerted effort with the House as to whether he was guilty or not. But it seems like it was completely the opposite in the Senate. So what do you think that has to say about the whole situation? Because obviously that's a little bit distressing. I'm sure if you're in Texas and you vote GOP, you have an issue now where which side do you vote for?
Yeah. Do you split your tickets between the people who are running in the Senate, the Texas Senate, and the people who are running in the House? Maybe your representative was on the opposite side of the issue than your Texas senator was, and do you go so far as to vote for a Democrat in 2024 or House election?
Well, and the thing is, like, more so than that, I mean, I won't say which side do you trust, because, I mean, it's Texas and the GOP, so it's sort of a given on where you go with that. But I guess it's like, which side is going to cater to your desires? I mean, like, Paxton is guilty. I mean, if I remember correctly, he's still under indictment, right?
He is still, yes.
Yeah. So
indictments that were in place years ago are still in place.
Right. So he hasn't been proven innocent in a court of law about any of this stuff. And I know that his argument when he was elected the first time was, well, the people of Texas know that I have these charges and it's not important to them, so whatever. Which I guess it's a valid concern, but
it's a concern, yeah.
It's a concern. So I mean, so the question is, if you were still living in Texas and you were a member of the GOP, I know that's not true, but if you were, let's pretend Okay. How would you deal with this?
So the way I deal with the way I dealt with the Texas GOP when I lived there was to vote against them every chance I got.
Yeah, I was saying avoid that thought process. Let's pretend that we're part of that group that voted for them.
So for me personally, I would if the Democratic Party had provided an opposition candidate that was just unacceptable, then I would try to make sure that I voted in the primary for somebody other than the Texas senator who was representing me, if that was an option at all.
Okay.
And because Texas doesn't require registration by party, anybody can vote in the Republican primary in Texas if they want to.
Mm.
And so I might encourage all of my like-minded friends to vote in the Republican Party next time to try to make sure to get those people who allowed Ken Paxton to go free to not be on the ballot anymore. Now, the problem with that is that the other people who might want to run the Texas GOP primary aren't any better.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was my next question: is what do you do when the people that you have to choose from aren't any better? But yeah, because one of the questions is I had when this first happened with the House starting the impeachment at all. My first big question was, okay, what did he do so bad? It must have been something horribly bad that he did in order to cause this type of thing to happen. Because, like you said, they stick together.
Well,
good news is
I think the straw that broke the camel's back was that a lot of the actions that led to charges and impeachment were in service of covering up his affair.
Okay. Which
his wife is actually a Texas senator.
Okay. And that makes sense in a way. But I guess at that point, why didn't the Senate do it? Because, like I said, there's a huge difference between the two of them. That
the House vote on sending articles of impeachment to the Senate was very lopsided in favor of impeaching him, and the Texas Senate vote was lopsided to the extent that their partisan breakdown is lopsided. All but two Republicans voted for acquittal, and that was enough to
so
dismiss the charges.
There were two Republicans that did vote for acquittal of it. So
there were two Republicans that voted for conviction.
Yeah, that voted for. Yeah, there was two that voted for conviction. I mean,
I believe I might be wrong, but I think his wife was forbidden by the impeachment trial rules from voting at all, even though she is a member of the Texas Senate and was therefore ex officio part of the jury that made the decision.
Well.
So I think she wasn't one of the two. Whether she would have been or not is a different question.
So your good news for this, let's sum it up one more time. Your good news for this is?
Well, so twofold. One is that he crossed some line somewhere where the GOP said, okay, there are some things that we won't just paper over and let happen. Which is progress from the Texas GOP, the Texas legislature generally. For them to say there are things that we won't accept is a good thing. The other good thing is that now we have a fairly clear demarcation of who is and isn't hopelessly corrupt. uh, and apparently that is the Texas House is not hopelessly corrupt, just
Well,
mostly.
Yeah, okay. I was saying you're giving them the benefit of the doubt on that one, but I can see where you would give them the benefit of the doubt.
So one quick anecdote. Back when I did live in Texas, the city of Austin passed a plastic bag ban for grocery stores and other retail outlets, and the Texas legislature said, "Nope, we're going to have a statewide rule so that cities can't make up their own rules for their own cities." And
because that makes sense.
People,
I mean, that's not government overreach in any way, shape, or form. That's definitely not big government.
The people of the city of Austin, it was pretty weird for the same people who complain that the federal government is making rules that people of Texas have to follow against their will. But the Texas legislature can do the same thing to cities with impunity. So, for whatever that's worth. Also, the people of the city of Austin had a ballot initiative where they passed rules around short-term rentals, like for instance, Airbnb or Vrbo, to put limits on those kinds of businesses.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry. They did something of that like that too. But the one that I was thinking of actually was ride-sharing services.
Uber
to try to
and
put
Lyft.
some protection in place. Uber and Lyft.
Yeah.
And the Uber and Lyft and whatever other ride-sharing companies were involved in opposing those rules spent a lot of money on advertising to try to convince the people of Austin that they shouldn't be passing any new rules. And the people of Austin said, "Screw you. We're going to put rules in place anyway." So the ride-sharing companies then went to the Texas legislature. And I don't know if or how much any money might have passed hands between the ride-sharing companies and the Texas legislature. I have suspicions based on my history with the Texas Lodge. Wouldn't be surprised if it turned out that there was some big money that changed hands. But I won't libel anybody on this forum. All I know for sure is that the legislature said, "Nope, we're going to put statewide rules in place for ride-sharing companies too." So the people of the city of Austin were overruled by the legislature once again.
Sounds like Texas is a wonderful state. Well, I guess my good news take on this one is Texas sort of gets what they vote in. So too bad. If you want to change that, maybe vote differently. It's good news because now they can make an informed decision, and we don't have to be upset for them if this happens again for them. So
if they put the same senators back in place that they've always done, then they'll continue to get what they've always gotten.
Yeah,
and it will be very much their choice. So.
Yep. Well, it's always been their choice, but I mean, it's good news now because it's blatantly apparent to everybody in the world what's going on there. It's not like just somebody talking about it's Texas. So it's nice that they get that out there. So, okay. Well, thanks for that good news, Richard. And a great absurd point about America in the current state of flux that we are. This is Michael for the Cult of Raider Days. And thank you very much for looking at the. Just so everybody knows, the Minecraft going on in the background is just so we have something on the screen so you don't get bored. Because I know that, it keeps your interest visually. I mean, Richard's an attractive guy, but, we want to make sure that we're not throwing it off. So I just was covering that, Richard, because I was playing Minecraft in the background. I was paying attention. I was paying attention, though. I was paying attention. So it's not like I wasn't paying attention. So thank you very much, everybody. you've been listening to the Cult of Writer Days, the good news. Join us here whenever we get around to actually doing something, which is occasionally, something like that. It's amazing how bad my screen has screwed up now. Seriously, I don't know where my... This is interesting. I can't stop the stream. It's like it's not letting me. It's like my mouse died or something. I think my mouse died. If it's not one technical problem, it's another technical problem with this, isn't it? Hey, at least this happened at the end. Everybody's tuned out already. So, it works okay. It's at the end. Everybody's tuned out. So, well, thanks everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.